This week on the Genuine Life podcast, I'm recapping my week, sharing my thoughts on the new thriller, The Invisible Man, what new show you should binge, and giving you a boost to keep working towards your goals. Can't wait to catch up. Let's start the show. Hello, beauties. Happy March and happy Women's History Month. Welcome back to the Genuine Life podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Nicole. Thank you so much for trusting me to administer your dose of positivity this week. I hope you had a great weekend. Last week, I had insightful phone calls and received beautiful messages following last week's episode about journaling and manifesting, as well as your overall thoughts on the show. So I'm happy to hear that many of you have found that episode beneficial and you're loving this podcast. So just remember, I'm always happy to answer your questions with regards to journaling or any topics on the show that I may cover. I just want to remind you that we are in this together. I'm thinking of creating a space for us to continue our convos between episodes, so I'll keep you posted when that's available. However, last week was extra.com. I don't know about you, but it just seemed to take forever. I keep seeing the meme floating around that adulting is ghetto, and I cannot agree more. It was my manager's last week with our team, and I really liked him. And you know, it's hard to find a really good manager. And to be real with you, I was feeling a bit burnt out, and I was ready for a mental break. So one day last week, I had a moment. I literally shut my computer off, put my coat on, I hopped on the bus, and I went home. And I walked in my door before noon. And guess what? I didn't feel guilty about one thing. My desk and everything was there when I returned the next day, and I felt so much better and focused and really was able to get my job done. Quick lesson, do whatever you need to do to maintain your peace of mind. It's a precious gift. So with that being said, I was determined to do something I love this weekend. So as many of you know, one of my favorite things to do is dinner and a movie. So Friday night, I grabbed dinner at, drumroll please, the Cheesecake Factory and caught the movie The Invisible Man with this show's favorite Seattleite, Chris. And now I have to be honest with you. My expectations were not high at all for this movie. And let's be honest, when a thriller or a suspense movie comes out, not many of us are expecting to really be scared, right? But the trailer looks pretty good, and I figured I had nothing to lose. It's not like I was doing anything anyway. So I headed to the movies. And well, I had a jean jacket on, and I am so grateful that I did, because that collar covered most of my eyes during most of that movie. Okay, I was so shocked with how many times I jumped. I at one point pushed Chris in his chair and the twists and turns in this plot of the movie were amazing. So if you like suspense and a bit of a thriller, I definitely recommend seeing it. It's not like spirits and ghosts kind of scary, because those really, really scare me. I'm a firm believer in spirits out here in these streets. But it's definitely suspenseful. Now, if you don't want to see it, or if you're really, really not into being scared, I have something else for you to watch. If you were looking for a new show to binge, check out The Boys on Amazon Prime. I was hooked. Honestly, probably after the end of the first episode, when I first started watching it, I was like, what is this? But keep going. It really picks up. It's so good, and it'll totally flip your idea of what a superhero is upside down. And like many of you, we've been bombarded with everyone's thoughts on the new show, Love is Blind on Netflix. I haven't gotten into it just yet, but I'm sure one of these days I'll break down and watch it, especially if I keep seeing all of these comments and posts on social media. But you may have also noticed I gave my podcast a bit of a facelift. I wanted something a bit brighter for the cover, and I'm really digging the new look, and I hope you are as well. And speaking of podcast facelifts, I also purchased a portable recording device, which I am super excited about. I've been using an amazing studio here in Seattle and still will utilize them whenever I need it, but this will allow me to be more independent. I'm currently recording this episode from my couch under a freshly washed, still warm comforter, fresh out of the dryer, and looking out the window, eating some goldfish. Well, obviously not eating while I'm talking, but I definitely have a cup of goldfish right here next to me. But this is going to allow me to record from anywhere at any time, and I'm so thrilled about this. You know, I have some trips coming up this year that would be really cool for me to record live and on location. I'll be heading to Denver in July for Sarah Jakes Roberts Women Evolve Conference with my sister. So if you're going, please let me know. Would love to meet up. Some weddings, family trips, and a cruise. So this will definitely be a game changer for me. Now I won't have to wait for the studio to record. So this was huge, and I'm super excited about it. All right, now to share my topic with you today, in case you haven't noticed, we are already in the month of March and getting ready to finish the first quarter of the year. I don't know about you, but for some, it really seems this year is starting off with a bang and goals are really being achieved. It seems people are really determined to make moves and are really striving to live their best lives. So I wanted to take this time to check in on you. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I know I can speak personally about watching people on living their lives on social media and immediately feeling major FOMO. I know what it's like to have goals and not know where to start and see how they'll be accomplished. And I know that we are all aware that social media isn't always real, but I still want to chat with you about goals. It's natural for us to have them. It's also human nature to ditch the goals and forget them when life happens. I'm the queen of set and forget it. So I am pretty much overqualified at this point to speak to you on this topic. It's very easy to hop on social media and see someone achieve a goal that you had for yourself and immediately equate that into failure if you haven't accomplished what you've set out to do. And you can also feel completely opposite and become so inspired that you feel rushed to get your goals accomplished, and then you get burnt out. And it was something about 2020 that hit me different. I think because I'm a bit older this go round and seeing 10 years fly by in the blink of an eye, I really felt like I had to do something different this year. And I have to tell you, this is the first time in a long time that I have felt super successful in working towards my goals. And a quick lesson here, the key to what I just said is I felt successful. It's important for you to define what success looks like for you. Not what social media says, not what your family or your friends say, not what an influencer says, but what you say. You should be measuring your success by what you did yesterday, last week, last year. You are the only person you should be comparing yourself to. It's the only way your goals will be realistically set. My biggest goal this year was to move my meetup group down from 3 platforms and simplify things. I was on Facebook, Instagram, and Meetup, and it was just becoming way too much, especially when I left Austin and moved to Seattle. You know, I'm trying to build a life of my own out here in a completely different city, but still trying to provide an experience for women in Austin. And I couldn't really tell who was in the group to socialize and who was just there, and it was making things so difficult for me, especially when it came to planning. Before the month of January was over, I had finally made the move to our very own platform. And I had always been nervous about this move because I had over 2,000 plus members across the platforms, and I knew everyone wasn't coming along. And although I was okay with that, I was still nervous. Running a meetup group or planning any kind of event brings nerves. It's like having a birthday party, inviting all your friends, and everyone you invited doesn't show up. It sucks. I also wanted to make sure that this podcast was launched. And as you all are aware, as you're listening, it's been done and it continues to grow. And this too almost didn't happen. Like many of us, when we're thinking of starting something new, I watched tons of YouTube videos. I listened to many podcasts. I DM'd friends with podcasts, asking questions. I purchased online classes. I watched Facebook Lives and everything in between, waiting on a quote unquote sign that now was the time to launch. And if you notice in both of those scenarios, I was scared. And guess what? You and I will always be nervous before starting something new, before tackling a goal, before starting a new job, before moving. You're always going to be nervous, especially if you're doing something where you're opening yourself up to opinions and comments of others. But what I want to stress to you with regards to your goals is you'll always find a reason not to start. You'll always be scared. It's totally fine to get educated and learn from others who are doing what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I encourage it. I don't believe you should go into anything completely blind. But once you've learned enough to get started, you have to get moving. With your goals, you should write them down and be specific on how they can be achieved. I want to launch a podcast is not better than I want to launch an inspirational podcast with weekly episodes for women, and I want the first episode to launch on April 1st. Hear the difference? For each goal, start backwards. Envision the end result and map out the steps it takes to get to the result. That will help you stay focused on one step at a time versus focusing on the large goal, which can sometimes feel intimidating. Set a goal with a date to complete that goal and work hard to complete it by then. However, if you don't finish on the day, but you can honestly say you took steps forward toward achieving it, then sis, you're still winning. Last year, I had a goal to launch this podcast on my birthday, October 24th, 2019. Write that down. I launched February of 2020. But the point is, I launched. And guess what? I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know where this podcast is going. But you know what? I'm having so much fun doing it. And it's one of the reasons why I don't do heavy editing on my episodes. I don't want you or I thinking that everything has to be perfect. Most of the episodes that you've listened to were recorded in one take. Perfection will keep you in place. We're human. If I stutter, I stutter. If I forget my thought, guess what? I'm probably going to forget something else again. But it's all good. This is all about living, learning, and being genuine. I just want to stress, I'm not saying not to have goals. You have to. They give us purpose and a reason to work towards something. I just want to make sure you don't tie your value to the achievement of that goal. Got it? Okay, sis, that is all that I have for you today. I have to tell you, if no one has told you already, I'm proud of you. You're doing the best that you can. And remember, all is well. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope something during our chat resonated with you. Join me next week where I'm sharing the top 10 things I can't live without. You don't want to miss it. Until next time, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and be genuine.